Hey folks, Carl here and welcome to episode 2 of Iteleri's German motorcycle and sidecar. Okay folks, episode 2. So in the last episode we got the frame built and the engine, and we'd mounted tank, I think. Now, upon further investigation of how the engine block goes into the frame, it was found that actually a part of the frame actually goes through the bottom of the engine block, so we've had to mount the engine block into the frame. After we'd done this, I'd noticed I'd done something else wrong as well. The actual side parts of the engine I'd got on the wrong side. So this is where we are with the bike. So we've mounted the engine into the frame, and you can see it goes through that bottom part of the frame right there. So it's had to go in. We've attached the tank, we've attached the seats and the springs. They just held in with a little bit of PVA glue, and we've put in the rear mudguard. So what did we do wrong here? So these engine sides of the engine here are on the wrong side, so you can see the front part is like a diamond shape, and that should be on the back here. So this one should be on this side and this one on this side. Now this part that we've mounted on the back here where the hoses go was a diamond shape, so I've had to round it off so it actually fits on there, otherwise it looked a little bit daft. This side we got away with it because it's just a round pipe going into a shape. Now this part here where we've connected onto this front section, we've had to fill it quite a lot with sprue glue because for some reason these, I can only think that they're exhaust pipes, did not fit properly. It's still not perfect, but I think once we've got paint on it we're not really going to notice. So that's where we are with the frame. So this is ready to be primed and painted. So it's going to make the paint job a little bit more awkward because we're going to need to do a lot of masking, etc, etc. So what are we up to next? I'm just going to go get the parts we're going to be working on. I'll show you in a moment. Okay, so next section we are going to be working on is going to be the sidecar. So we have the two halves here. There's a little bit of prep work done here, but not a huge amount because we're going to prime the centre, get it all sprayed up. We've also got the wooden footboard that goes on the inside, and the seats we've already made a start on. These have been primed and given a very light coat of XF60 dark yellow, so we need to add some more browns and different shades to those seats. And then the inside of this we're going to paint a light cream colour, something like buff or yeah, deck tan or something like that. So that is the next part of the project to get built up. So while we're priming these, we are also going to get the main body primed as well. So it's starting to get quite large. So I am going to go and get this lot painted up, and I shall see you all shortly. Okay folks, so excuse me, we've been working away and we've got some paint onto this. For the wood we need to paint these bars here a metallic colour or black, so we still need to do that, but we've got the base coloured down. We've also got the two main bike seats painted up in brown. I don't know whether the camera's going to pick that up, but they are slightly different shades around the seat, so hopefully when we do the wash it'll start to pick up that detail. So those are also done, and we've started to put the bucket together, so it's glued together, and we do have the seat inside, and we've painted the inside of the frame a a creamy white colour. Now you can probably see the seam on this, it is quite bad and it goes all the way around. So at the moment this connection here was also really bad and it actually dipped into the centre, so it came down and up. It was supposed to be perfectly straight. No matter what I did, I couldn't get it to come back up as it should, so we have literally filled it with sprue glue. There was also a small gap between the chair and this frame, so we've filled that with sprue glue. Now this has been drying for about 12 hours, and the part we're going to be adding onto that is this one. So this just sits on the back here like so. So it sits nice and flush, but you can see my throat this morning, you can see the gap right there. So we are going to need to get this fixed in place, tidied up, fixed in place, and we're going to have to add some more sprue glue to fill that gap. So before we can do that, I'm going to need to do on camera all of this seam and join. We'll probably do it all the way around. You probably don't need to see this bottom because this is going to be covered by the frame of the sidecar, but I'm going to do it anyway. So we'll get all that done first and tidied up. We're going to do exactly the same. We're going to go around the seam with our sprue glue and leave it to dry and sand it down. So I shall get that done. I shall probably come back and show you once that is dry before we add this back part on. So that's going to be a couple of days work, so I shall see you shortly. Okay folks, so we've got this part painted, and so these are wooden slats, and this is some cast iron that's been painted with a black paint, and that's obviously going to go to the footwell here. So what have we done? We have got all the sprue glue around this edge now. We've only gone to here, and we've gone around the back to about there, because all of this we're not going to see because it's going to be sitting on the frame of the sidecar. So now we are going to get this bit on, but first of all we've got to smooth out this section here so we can get this to sit nice and flush before we can attach that down. So all we're doing is exactly the same as we did on the tank of the motorbike. If you can remember that from the first video, we're just going to very slowly work it down. We're going from rough, working through the grades on our UMP sanders, and we'll get this section smooth before we start on working on any of the rest, and we'll get this part on and attached, because we're going to need to add some sprue glue into that gap right there. So I am going to get on with this because it's going to take a little bit of time, and I shall talk to you all shortly. Okay folks, that is us sanding that down with the very first rough sanding, and as you can see that is now pretty much smooth. You don't need to worry too much about this edge because this is going to cover all of that up, so we don't need to worry too much about that. So now we're just going to move down a grade and start to smooth this out. So back shortly. Okay folks, we are down to doing the last layer, and as you can see now that is pretty smooth. You can see the difference when we bring it over, and you can now see what it was like before we started sanding to that, and there's nothing there now at all. So when paint goes on that, you won't even see that line down the centre. So the last thing we're going to do is use the UMP Buffy sticker. You use the blue side first, just to take that last little bit off. Following the curves, not pressing too hard, just dropping the sander, and that is that with that side. And now we're going to use the smooth side, and we should start to hear this squeak once this starts to buff up and get its shine back. And that squeak is the buffer sticking to the plastic. And just to prove me wrong, it's not going to do it. I think you can start to see the shine on that now, if I can get the light to reflect off it, which we can't. There, and that now is pretty smooth. There we go, start to catch it now. When it starts to does that, you know you are pretty much done. So there we go, that part is done. You can hardly see that in there at all. So we are now going to get this glued on and in place. So we'll go like that, and we will then get some sprue goo into there. So we'll get our extra thin quick set in. We'll just drop it into the seams. Let the capillary action do its work. On the other side. Get plenty on there, it's not going to hurt it. A bit of a squeeze. Plastic to stick. Now you can see that gap in there. There's no gaps around the side. There's a little bit of a gap under there, but I think they're supposed to be, because I think this is like a trunk and it opens up that way, because there's more bits and pieces to glue here. There's straps or something. Go to the instruction. I'm going to give that 10 minutes to dry. Get the sprue glue in there. I'll leave that to dry another couple of days. I'll get the rest of this sanded off and smooth out this sprue goo, excuse me, on there. So I'm going to call that there for now. So I will talk to you shortly and see what this looks like inside there. Doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad. Of course, these chairs and the floor and the inside of this cab have got to be gloss coated, washed, and then matted. So there we go. I shall talk to you very, very shortly. Okay folks, we have finished the sanding on the main part of the sidecar. So this is now all smooth all the way around. We've not bothered with this centre section because the frame is going to be covering this that holds the sidecar, and all around the back you'd already seen this part. We've also filled the gap in there and sanded that down as best we can. It's still a little bit rough, but I think I'm going to leave it like that. So this is now ready to start putting on all of the parts that go on the sidecar, which, if I can find the instructions, we're going to get all the mountings for the panniers and the other boxes and stuff, like so. And once all that is built up, we can then start building the main frame. So I'm going to continue, get all the bits and pieces onto this, and then we should be back and we can take a look at the completely assembled sidecar. So I shall talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, we have started to put this on. You can see we've got those back straps in. This one snapped as we were cleaning it up, but we've got it put it on so you can't actually see where it is snapped, not very clearly anyway. And once there's paint on it, you'll never know that it actually happened. Now, I'm going to put these handles on the front as well. Now, as you can see, I've left a couple to put on. We've left the nub on where we've cut it off the sprue. The reason being is if we've got those on like so, once these are actually dry and solid in place, we can trim those off, and it makes it much easier to sand and clean up when it's actually physically attached to the model than it is trying to hold this tiny little handle. Excuse me, I've got my eyepieces on, trying to hold this tiny little handle and get in there with a file. So if it's attached to the model, leave that nub on, it's a hell of a lot easier to clean up. So just a little tip there. We've got these parts all cleaned up and ready to go on. These are for holding the panniers on the side of this. Now these are going to need to be glued in place, and because these are flat and the actual body is curved, we're going to need to apply quite a bit of pressure to get these to stick down. So yeah, those to go on next. So I'm waiting for these to dry properly so I don't catch them and ping them off. Doing it like this, you do have to make sure that it is dry for a good couple of hours before you actually start working on it, because as you go to sand it will just bend slowly and come off. So just a little quick update of where we are with the sidecar. So starting to take shape. Okay folks, so we have the back as good as done. We've now got the mount for the MG all fitted. There's a bit of a fit issue on this seam here, so we put a bit of sprue glue on there and we're going to tidy that up once it's dry. We've taken the nubs off the handles and cleaned them up. We've also got the handles on the side with the nubs taken away and cleaned up, and we've got the mounts for the panniers on, and we are just starting to play with these. We've made up the connections at the top, and we're going to leave these so that they can still open and close like so, and then that way we can then remove the bags if we don't want them on. But we are just test fitting. We've cleaned the back of one of the boxes up and put the mount on it. It's not glued in place. What I was checking for was that when we put this on, because we can put this on a dry fit as well, because it's quite a groove on the underside, so we can put that on and we can open it up. We can hang this on here because this has a part on the bottom that goes into this hook here, and then the bag sits on there like so, and then of course you close these. It takes a little bit to get it to line up properly because everything's loose. The bag will sit just like that, and of course there'll be another one on the side. Now there's 3 boxes and 3 racks, so I'm thinking that there's probably going to be another one on the side of the bike itself. So there we go. We are starting to put the bags on the bike. I'm not sure if they're called panniers on a sidecar, but they are on a bike, I'm pretty sure. If not, they're called something else. Let me know in the comments. So I'm going to carry on building these boxes up, and we'll be back in a moment. Okay folks, that is those, ooh, a bit shaky, side bags on. And all we need to do to take them off is open that and remove them like so. Same on the other side. So they are now all glued in place and done. So apart from the MG42 that sits up here, that is the sidecar done. So I'm not sure how long this video has been. So we've got the side bags there all down, done, sanded down and finished. So we've got 3 in total. Like I say, there's another one to go somewhere else on the bikes, but I'm not sure how much time I have recorded on this video, so I am going to call this video done. So we have done the sidecar in this video. So next up we are going to be getting on with the frame, and we'll probably, if there's time, depending on how much there is to putting this frame together and getting the bike connected, we will probably also start on the forks for the front of the bike, which are somewhere around here. There we go. So we will probably start those forks. Anyway, as always, thank you very much for watching. Be good, be safe, and as always, keep making models, and we'll see you next time. Ta-ta.